everything changes.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome into the channel. I'm Casey, the Rockstarflipper. Those of you that are new here, welcome in, and my returning viewers, thank you for being here as always. And today I have a very special video for all of you. And as you can see probably on my screen, two very special guests. So I want to introduce these guys to you. This is Dan Metters and Dylan Frost, and they are from the Wholesale Formula. And I want to give you guys an extra special opportunity today. And we're going to learn a little bit about who Dan and Dylan are, what they do, what their company is, and how they can help you with your business, particularly Amazon FBA, those of you that are already maybe selling on Amazon or want to get into it. So I don't want to waste any time. We're going to jump into Dylan and let you guys kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what it is you do. So Dylan, welcome in, buddy.
Hey, what's going on? So I guess we'll just start at the very beginning. Dan and I, our Amazon business got started in the year 2011. And it's really crazy to think about that, Dan, but that's 10 years ago now. I don't know if that's hit you yet.
A decade.
It makes you feel so old when you realize that you've been in business for 10 years. And to think, like, I didn't start a business out of college, so that makes me feel extra particularly old. So
well, you are.
Nice of you to bring that up, my friend, my fine fuzzy friend.
Sure, yeah, you are old. But 10 years, well, that's a lot. But at least that means at this point, we have a lot of experience to know what we're talking about now. We can feel like we're some sort of grizzled veterans.
I would go so far as to say if there's a mistake, we over the course of 10 years, we probably made it. Like it's insane the amount of setbacks we've had, the amount of just things that happen in business that you learn about along the way.
And probably made them all twice, just for good measure. But Dan, you're probably best to explain how it all got started, how we got started selling on Amazon and the way we got started selling on Amazon. I'll let you take it.
For sure, man. Like, so I've always had a bit of that, like, kind of entrepreneurial or sales bug. Like I have a feeling that your audience is going to resonate with this pretty well, Casey. Like I was a grinder as far back as I can remember. Like I originally got started with basketball cards when I was in the 6th grade or 7th grade, and I was trading back and forth. And then we started doing magic cards and stuff like that. And that's how I paid my way through college, was like, you know, going to events and trading and buying and selling. So I love just the act of commerce, like selling and stuff. So in college, I started working for a company that sold toys and games online. And that like really helped me catch that passion for online sales. Like you know, it's like that connection. And I like, that was where I was able to start learning about the other, like really learning about the other marketplaces. I started with a video game store there. And then one day, like it was kind of funny. Like I had a lot of experience at that point with like eBay and stuff like that. But one of my buddies came in and he was talking about Amazon and how his company was doing on Amazon. And I was like, what? Like, I thought they sold books. Like, you know, I thought it was one of the book websites. And he was like, no, man, I sell like, he was selling Games Workshop figures at the time. And, you know, it was like, I would see him come in and he would process these orders after work. And he would, you know, it was just huge amounts of stuff that was selling. And then this guy, he was the CFO of the company I worked for. And he came in and he gave his notice one day. And I was like, what? Like, we're in Kentucky, man. It's a 6-figure job. Like, what are you doing? Are you moving back to New Jersey or what? And he said, no, man. He's like, honestly, I've just scaled like Amazon. I'm making more money sitting at home in my underwear, processing stuff than I am coming to work. So it just makes more sense. And I was just completely blown away at that point and had him kind of show me what he was doing, because you know, to go from, in a matter of months, to be able to go from, you know, kind of just starting out with this new Amazon thing to leaving your job and leaving a 6-figure job was nothing short of impressive. Like I was just blown away. And we went out to a Walmart, and beyond the Games Workshop figures and stuff he was selling, he was going to Walmarts and just buying, you know, whatever would work and taking it and reselling it online.
Yeah, just arbitrage.
Just straight arbitrage, right? And I remember my first item, like I didn't believe it would work. I actually just, I don't know. I can't imagine people, I had the little scanner app and I scanned this Disney car. It was it was Shu Todoroki, for any of your Disney Cars fans out there. And it was $2.87 in this hand. And I was looking at the screen and it was $15. And I was like, there's just no way. There's no way people are paying $15 for this goofy little thing. But there were like 10 there. So I bought them all because, it's like $30 and it'd give me a try. So like I went home, I sent these things in, and literally the minute they got received, they started selling, like just the minute. And I just completely flabbergasted again and was like, holy crap, like this thing just works. So then it was like every single night, weekend, like if I could be in a store, I was in a store out there shopping. And it was, we went from, I think in July was like, we got started in July. And by December, we were doing over $50,000 a month in sales just from arbitrage. And that was with a full-time job. And that was kind of where in December, that was our best sales month ever, but it was like, also I had something terrible happen. And but without that, I don't think it would have like carried our business forward. Like I got fired in December of 2011, and that kind of like I had a brand new baby, and I was just married, and I had a house and bills and all those kinds of things, and I was like, oh my God, like should I go look for another job, or should I really just focus on this business, this brand new little arbitrage business? And I decided, thank God, I decided to move forward with the Amazon business. And so starting in January of 2012, like we were just 100% full-time Amazon, 100% retail arbitrage.
And to flash forward now, I'll just give a little spoiler to the end. That's how it got started. At this point, we've sold over $30 million on Amazon now and counting every day. But yeah, so I just wanted to just like get to the spoiler at the end, but I'll let you keep going, Dan.
Yeah.
Spoiler was not getting a job was a good idea.
Yeah.
As it turns out, not getting a job turned out to be a great idea, but it was really, really hard at first. And I know a lot of the folks out there will probably resonate. Like, when you start, it's tough, man. Like I took the biggest pay cut I'd ever taken. Like literally the way we were able to calculate our salaries was, what is the absolute minimum you need to survive? Like, that's not, that's not eating steak every night. That's not like having, it's the tough way. And every dollar every dollar I was generating that wasn't like sustaining my life was literally going back into the business, buying more product, buying, if I needed better equipment, it was that kind of stuff, anything we could to grow the business, because I realized that by growing the business, I would eventually grow my income stream, right? Like I would eventually grow my own income. And so it was like a tough couple of years, and it was even tougher because of the family aspect and where we're located, particularly. Like, there's not a lot of we're not exactly like a hub of commerce here in Kentucky. The closest Target to me is an hour and a half away, and so it's everything's so spread out. So like to go on a shopping trip, I mean, it would be like a 5 to hit enough stores. It would be 5, 6, 7 hours.
A journey,
right? An actual journey. And then sometimes most of our trips were like multi-day trips. So it was really hard, particularly with a brand new baby. And I put I had my wife was fantastic during that, and she but I put a lot on her to take care of the kid while I was gone and stuff like that. But it was literally 7 days a week. And 2012 went great. We finished right at about 900,000 in sales. But that was working, that was working nonstop. And then that was where we started realizing that it wasn't sustainable, right? Like I can't be doing this at 50 years old or 60 years old. I can't be driving around and trying to make a full-time income doing arbitrage. Like it was just too tough. And then so we really, that's where we started looking at other avenues, right? Like we started looking at other ways to make money besides just doing retail arbitrage. And we experimented with a retail store. also didn't go very well. That was it was interesting. Our retail store, we decided to make a specialty toy store, and in Corbin, and there just wasn't enough foot traffic to sustain it, and it didn't really work out. And then we tried something else. We tried to make an online website specialized for My Little Pony collectibles, and it was a lot of that was because we were buying so many My Little Pony stuff and selling it on Amazon. And it was like, it obviously had a really big following, so that was our goal. But we were trying to come up with anything to not have to be traveling all the time, to be able to kind of spend some time with our families and stuff like that. Because my week literally looked like, Monday we would, 3 or 4 hours, we would plan a route, then we would take off, and we would be gone until 3 or 4 days to buying product and filling our van up. We would come home, go home to the family and hang out for a day. And then it was processing. And as soon as we got processed, it was back on the road again. So it was, it was anything we could find to get off out of that. And then we experimented with private label. I'm sure people have heard of that, where you just kind of make your own product, make your own version of a product, and put your label on it. And we had one product that was really successful. And then it was just like, then kind of the whole, we weren't very good at marketing our products and things like that caught up to us, right? Like competition eventually found like our little niche and crushed us, and we weren't good enough marketers to stay out. So that was kind of depressing. And then that was kind of where we found wholesale. And even with wholesale, we didn't have success at first, right? Like, we started with a distributor model, and I'm sure Dylan can talk about like the changes we made to the model that really kind of gave us a lot of, gave our business some lift. But our first little go with wholesale, we were using distributors and buying tons of, just buying closeouts or whatever we would get offered. And it was like the margins were super tight. You would go through pages. I remember that. I just remember going through pages and pages and pages of products, and it's like you find one where you make $1.48. You know what I mean? And it's just depressing. And I remember that. It just days and days. And I just going back and saying, like, how do people actually make money with this? Like, how do you make money? How you just piecing pennies together and kind of hoping for the best, but
then we eventually figured it out. So I want to do a recap real fast recap this story for everyone, kind of summarize everything to make sure everything's tracking for everybody. So in 2011, that is when our Amazon business got started. A friend showed Dan how it worked, how you could sell retail arbitrage, and Dan got started. A part that he didn't mention is actually got started with a $600 credit card. That's how Dan began selling on Amazon. And that's because it was your first credit card, and that's all that they would approve you for.
That was all they would trust me with.
That was $600, and that's how you bought your original inventory. Got started, did that for about 6 months while you had a full-time job. Then you got fired, then forced into doing it full-time. But in that first full-time year, did over $900,000 in sales, retail arbitrage, and that was almost primarily, I would imagine, I believe the vast majority of that was Walmart's. It was going to Walmart clearance and Walmart toy sections and buying products and selling them retail arbitrage. Did retail arbitrage for about 3 years as a full-time job, basically. You say you own in a business, but really it's like a full-time job and able to do that level of sales, close to $1 million in sales every year, retail arbitrage, which is great, but it's a lot of work. And then started trying to identify, well, how can we make this much money or more money, but do it with less work? And tried a bunch of different things. And what we ultimately the thing that we landed on that worked was wholesale, but not just any kind of wholesale.
A very special version.
A very unique twist on it all, right? So let's first start by talking about the type of wholesale that Dan was just talking about that we tried that didn't really work. Okay. So still doing retail arbitrage full-time, it's what pays the bills. Trying to figure out, okay, how can we scale this? How can we go from, because because the business was stuck. The business had done the same amount of annual revenue for multiple years in a row, right? Doing about a
that resonates best with the audience because I get it so many times. You're only one person, or maybe a husband and wife, two people. You can only go to so many stores. You can only get so much stuff.
Exactly. Like you have to think about, whenever you're in business, and I didn't see this then. Like honestly, it was a hustle for me. It was a hustle that gave me money and put money in my pocket. But now, like since we've grown our business and kind of matured, I've got to see this process. And you have to be able to look at, if you're wanting to grow your business, you have to be able to look at the constraints, right? And for us, it was just time. Like you were exactly right. There were physically no more hours to go to a store. So like, how can I grow my sales? And it's the only thing left is either change my model or find better deals. And I couldn't find better deals. So it's, if nothing is going to magically change in your business, you have to actually change it. Like if you want to grow or you want to scale, you have to be that change or instigate the change.
And it's wild to think about, because for some people it was like already living the dream, right? It's like in just really 6 months of selling on Amazon, after 6 months after started selling on Amazon, going full time and working for yourself and being your own boss and this full-time entrepreneur where you're making enough money to live off of just buying stuff at Walmart's and reselling it on Amazon. And then not only that, but then scaling that up to very nearly $1 million business in the first full-time year, right? Doing nearly $1 million in sales. A lot of people look at that and they're just like, that's awesome. That's amazing. And it was for a little while. That's the thing. It's like, number one, you're always wanting something more. But number two, it was a lot. It actually ended up being a lot of work to be able to do that. So after, then another problem was we just weren't growing. The business wasn't growing, right? The sales in 2012, 2013, and 2014 were all about the same. There wasn't a whole lot of growth going on. But it all really changed in 2015, and that's kind of when everything changed. So what happened? Right, years of doing the same thing, years of trying stuff, trying new things, and none of it really working. So one of the things that we tried and failed at was traditional wholesale selling. So the concept of traditional wholesale selling, let's talk about that. What does that mean, right? And that means, what it means for most people is to contact a wholesaler or look one up online, or a distributor, who are just these massive companies that carry thousands and thousands of different brands of product in their catalogs of inventory, and you can just buy it from them and resell it on anywhere, really. Resell it on Amazon, resell it anywhere. And the way that those wholesalers and distributors work, the way their businesses works is, for the most part, they buy the inventory from the brand directly, and then they resell it to you at a markup, right? But you have access to a lot of different products and brands. And what you would do if you wanted to wholesale like that was you'd go through their inventories, their catalogs, and their catalogs would come in a variety of different awful ways to go through. They could be physical, they could be Excel spreadsheets, they could be, it was a slog that would take hours and hours of you checking, is this product good on Amazon? Can I make money at the price that they're going to sell it to me? And you could spend 3 days going through these catalogs and find one product that you could make, a 7% margin on, maybe. And
have good competition and have strong competition the whole way.
Right. So it was just like this big struggle. And that's what Dan was saying. It's like, how do people do this? How does anyone make money with this? And the answer is it's a challenge. And Dan, I like the story. I like for you to tell this part of the story, like the moment.
Just the light bulb moment, the frustration moment, the frustration that I believe in business, you have these moments, right? It's like you get to this roadblock. And as long as you continue to push forward and don't give up, like you eventually solve that roadblock, and then you take off running again until you find your next one. And that was kind of what happened. Like it was, we dug through catalogs and went to ASD and just couldn't find anything. And it was that point where it's like I'm sitting there looking through these catalogs, just dejected. Like I haven't found anything exciting in days. And I looked down and I pick up this product, and it was just, some arbitrary product. And I was like, why can't I sell this? Like, why do I have to go through all of these ridiculous catalogs, look up every single SKU to find one item to sell? Like, if I could just sell this product or find a product and just sell it, it would be amazing. And I was like, well, shit. Like, it was, I'm going to contact them. I'm literally going to reach out and contact the company.
The
And
brand directly. Yeah.
right. So I contacted this brand and I was like, hey guys, like, what
Just like Google searched them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no fanciness. Google search, go to their website, find their phone number, call them and say, hey guys, I was interested in potentially buying your product. What distributors would I need to contact? And that was it. This was the break. They said, I mean, we're happy to set up an account with you directly. And I remember having all these conversations with people and you just, why don't you contact the manufacturer directly? And it was always that, gosh, they're going to be massive orders or whatever. And you can't work with these people. And so that's what I was expecting. I was expecting that they were going to say, minimum order $30,000. And I didn't have anywhere near $30,000. And, so I was like, yeah, I mean, what's your guys' minimum order? And it was $250. $250. And I was just completely amazed and was like, so I can set up an account directly with you guys and 250 is the minimum order. And that was it. And from there on, when I realized that you could just set up accounts directly and that it wasn't these massive orders, like that was the light bulb moment of, instead of going through these ridiculous catalogs, looking and piecing together, why don't I just find a product that works and then go contact that brand or manufacturer and try to work with them directly? It's like cutting out the middleman and also kind of cutting through that noise at the same time, right? Of all the bad products and all the annoying stuff.
And that is the moment that everything changed. That's the moment that, like for our business, where we went from full-time employees, basically full-time employees in your own business to business owners. And the way things scaled and grew from there is crazy. So that whole concept of reaching out to the brand owner directly and opening up a direct account where you buy the product direct at direct pricing, we've gone on to call that reverse sourcing wholesale. And we call it reverse sourcing wholesale because it's kind of a reverse engineer of the process. The way that it worked before, when we were going through contacting wholesalers and distributors and going through catalogs of product, you had to go through the catalog first to see what was good on Amazon. So what we do now is the opposite of that, because of being able, now that we know that we can succeed contacting brands directly. What we do is we go to Amazon first, look up product on Amazon that is successful. We've actually developed a formula that we call the Wholesale Formula, where we can do like a quick math problem to determine, could we sell this product and it be profitable for us, basically, and how profitable could it be? And so we just go on Amazon, find those products, and then it's as simple to be able to sell them, products that can be earning us hundreds or thousands of dollars in profit every month. To sell them, it's as simple as Google searching the company, finding their contact information, and sending them an email or making a phone call to them and opening up a direct buying account with them and becoming an authorized Amazon seller, an authorized and approved Amazon seller of their products. And so people watching and listening right now, they may be thinking like, oh man, like that sounds awesome and simple. And it's just like, absolutely it is. It is actually pretty simple when you think about it.
Right. And concept, it is really simple. I mean, this is probably the oldest form of commerce in the world, right? Is buying something to resell at a profit. And that's exactly what we're doing here, is we're working directly with the manufacturers to resell those products.
It just didn't make sense to do 30 or 40 years ago. The way that I like to help people understand it and why it's kind of weird and unique is, like, let's say that it's the year is 1970. Okay. And you're starting a retail store of some sort, right, in your neighborhood. And the way that worked back then is you had to use wholesalers and distributors because it would be so difficult and hard to fill your store full of product by buying everything direct. Think about that. If you had your own retail store, if you had to buy every single item direct, that's how many hundreds of different POs that have to get sent out. You have to organize, and if they're minimum order quantities, just even if it is $250, like it was for us when Dan reached out, right? $250 of some product that you would throw in a retail store, maybe way more than you would need to buy, right? So for decades and decades, for people that started their own store, they kind of had to use these wholesalers or distributors to fill their store because they could just buy a wide variety of things to fill into their store, and they could buy in low quantities and low amounts.
All right, 6 of this, 4 of that. Think of the quantities for a store.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that was where everyone's mindset still was selling on Amazon and thinking that they needed to use that old way of doing business with selling in person, that you would sell online that way, but it's actually not the case. The way our business works is we identify one really, really good product that's maybe selling hundreds or thousands, or in some cases tens of thousands of times on Amazon every month. And I just want to sell that. I just want to sell that item and being able to sell hundreds or maybe thousands of units of that product. So of course, in that case, it makes sense for me to just go and open that direct account and buy that product direct at their manufacturer direct pricing and resell it, right? So that's kind of what we're doing in the difference. And so now that it's one of those things where like, okay, that makes sense. So there has to be like a yeah, but to all this, right? And there is.
There is. I want to talk some more about some of the how that can change your business and morph your business, though. Talk about the scalability and look at that. Like the versus going out and finding products. Now we were having products come to us. Like once there's complexities in setting up a wholesale business, but once it's set up and once it's operating, the fundamentally it doesn't get much more simple, right? Like for us, it's we carry product X. It's when the inventory starts getting low, we call our manufacturer and say, hey, can you ship more of this to us, more of these to Amazon for us? And that's so once you establish accounts in wholesale, like the maintenance and things like that are incredibly light. Like you're able to scale and grow fairly well.
Yeah, to be able to do $10,000 in sales doing arbitrage, right, would require us to drive all over the place, all over the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, for instance, and pick up products at a variety of different stores, then bring it back to our houses or our garages or whatever to prep them and send them out to Amazon. But to do $10,000 in sales and wholesale, it can be as simple as making a phone call and then they just ship the product direct to Amazon and it's live listed and selling.
The biggest difference, exactly. But the biggest difference is, when in arbitrage, like when you went and you found that $10,000 in stuff and you sold it, you have to go find $10,000
again
in things again. And that's, that's the hard and scalable part, right? Like it's the flow of product is not consistent. Like you have to literally go find your next dollar. And that was where it really shifted is making a phone call and getting that same SKU. Like our business is boring compared to a traditional arbitrage business now. Like I used to love to go and see the thrill of the hunt, and you find that thing where you make, like, I remember a bird book, and it's of the things to get excited about. A bird book is one of the most awkward, right? Like in retail arbitrage, I there was a bird book I found that was $10 in this store, and I had scanned it, something like that, and it was $140 on Amazon. We bought the bird book, sold it, took it, listed it, sold the bird book. You don't see a lot of those 14X's versus your cost in terms of wholesale. But what you do see is being able to, a standard margin, say 20% or something like that, is being able to pick up the phone every month and have it come back again and again and again.
Consistent, predictable. And that's when you have that's what enables you to scale and start growing a big business that can grow and add more and more different product lines. And so So yeah, and that's how we've been able to get there. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to get to the yeah, but part now. So I'm sure it all makes sense to everyone that's listening and watching. It's like, yeah, that sounds like I could do it, and you can. But there's one thing you need to know now, right? It's like that very first time Dan tried, he reached out to the brand owner and opened up that account. And it was very easy. But like the next
real
few,
lucky.
right? It was a little bit lucky. The next few weren't that simple. So the reality is to open up a direct account with a brand for you to be able to buy direct from them. They don't always allow it, or aren't always interested in wanting to work with you specifically or work with Amazon sellers. There's a lot of reasons where they are just resistant to the idea of letting someone open up a direct account, because that's, in some cases in their minds, a really important thing where they want to only allow kind of the best of the best to be able to do that, I think, a decent way of putting it. So that means if you're going to be the person that's approved to get that direct account, that direct buying account, you have to be able to offer something to them. You have to basically be able to convince them that you should be allowed to buy direct, I think, is the simplest way of putting it.
You have to be able to convince them to let you spend money with them, as crazy as that is.
Yes.
Like it's insane that you could run to them with a big giant pile of money and shake it at them real good, and they wouldn't care. Like that was the most perplexing thing to me is, like Dylan said, that first account was it was the break I needed to keep going, right? It was the break I needed to know I was heading in the right direction, but it wasn't the break that made our business. It helped us understand what our business could be. The break that really made our business was I had called. There was a point where I bet I called 20 vendors in a row, 20 or 25, and every single one of them said, we're not looking for another Amazon seller, or not taking any other sellers at this time, or whatever. Just, don't want your money. That was really what they were saying, is I don't want your money.
Yeah. And this is the part where, like, people that try to replicate what we do fail at it, and really fail. A lot of people try to go and buy direct from brand owners, and they fail for this specific reason that Dan is talking about right now, is because when they call or they email that brand owner says, we don't sell to Amazon sellers direct, or we're not interested in adding any more Amazon sellers. People don't know the right ways to respond or how to handle that. So I'll let you keep going, Dan.
Sure. And, and I was in that same boat, right? Like I was in that same boat. I would call, they would answer, they would say not interested. And I would hang up and be like, shucky darn, let's do it again. And then, call next one. But we got to a point, like there was this one brand I called, and I still remember I still remember the conversation. Like I had sent them an email, and this was a product. This was during one of my weight loss kicks. Like I used to be, I'm still a good sized guy, but like I used to be a big boy, and I'd gotten to where I was starting to work out. I was starting to pay attention to my diet and things like that. And there was this supplement that I had been taking that I'd gotten really good results with. And I had sent them an email. I got the traditional, we're not looking for an Amazon seller, thanks but no thanks email back. And I decided, I'm gonna call these guys. So I call, and I asked the guy, I was like, I'd sent you guys an email about setting up a wholesale account, and you said you weren't looking for any other Amazon sellers. And he was like, and I'm in it. And that for me it was like, gosh. And I was like, well, I definitely
kind of a rude response even.
Well, I mean, at first, and as sellers, like as a seller, we often take that as a rude response, like, oh, what a jerk, right? But I'm sure, how many times do you think he has been contacted, right? Like just end of his wits kind of scenario. And I was like, no, I definitely understand, man. Like, if you got 5 minutes, I would love to just help you out. Like I use your product. I love your product. And I saw some things that I think might be able to actually help. So I was like, are you in front of a computer? And he said, yeah. And so I get him to go to his listing, and he brings it up, and he was like, yeah, listing on Amazon. And I was like, well, have you ever heard of this other brand? And it was one of their top competitors. And yeah, of course I've heard of them. And I was like, how do you do against them in, outside of Amazon? He's like, oh, we're the best in the, we're the best. Like we that market leader, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And I was like, same thing. Like I've used that product, use your product. Yours is clearly better. Like I had, like, it's all true. So we go to their listing, and the first thing he looked at, he was, wow. And it was, they had all the pictures. They had great full descriptions. They had a nice big title with lots of rich keywords and things like that. And I was like, so you guys absolutely have a better product. You destroy them outside of Amazon, but they are more than doubling your sales on Amazon. And it's just because they're doing these things. And I was like, I get it. You don't need any other Amazon sellers. You're not looking for any other Amazon sellers, but you do need to fix this. And he was like, gosh, I don't know how we're in this spot. Like, I'm working with two of the biggest sellers on Amazon. And at the time he was working with, anybody watching this has probably heard of E-Tails. Anybody watching this might've heard of River Colony Trading. Those guys are massive companies, top 10 sellers on Amazon. And he was like, I don't know how we're here. Like I'm working with two of the biggest sellers on Amazon. And I was like, realistically, you're just an account to them, man. Like, you're just a somebody. Like, you're one of 700 accounts that they have that they do their best with. Like, if you would be interested in working with me, if you would let us set up an account with you guys, like, this will never happen again. And you're my number one account. Like, I'm the owner of the company. You have my cell phone number, like, all hours of the day. I'm not a rep. And my goal, because I succeed with you guys, like, if I can make your sales go up, my sales go up because of that, and I make more money. So I would love to be able to help you guys do these things. And you can look at this. One way you can look at this is you can take what I've given you here, talk to you about, and I'm sure those guys can go get it done. Like, you go back and you talk to them, but you're going to have to remember it every single time. Like, you're going to have to remember to go back and talk to them and say, hey, have there been any other changes on Amazon I should be aware of that might make me sell more products? Or you can work with the much smaller guy that actually is super invested in your brand success, and you never have to worry about that again. And that was the account I got. He's like, yeah, I would love to work with you on this. And that really opened our eyes. It's like, being able to find that you can work with directly with manufacturers and brands is one thing, but being able to find the ticket to be able to start getting them to want to work with you was another. And that was really what changed our business. Like when you put it together logically and you think about how businesses work in general, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, to be able to offer some kind of value to get them engaged. It's the same thing in your business and in any business that you really do. It's an exchange of value, except I changed the parameters of value, right? Instead of just making it about money, which everybody was always talking about, is I just want to place another order or a bigger order or whatever. We changed it to something where they could, that we could be unique, right? Like, I can't compete with people for the size of their orders, but I can compete on value and being able to help a brand outside of, or help a brand succeed. So that one was paramount for us. It was the probably the biggest thing that helped our business take off, was realizing that brands would respond to value more than they respond to money.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. Even in my business, I think it took me the better part of 3 years to learn that there's more to business than money. And I know that's crazy for people to hear and think of and actually come out of my mouth, but there is a lot more. And I built even what I have now based on a whole bunch of other stuff. And so any business that you're going to work with, whether it's me or a brand or you guys or whatever, there's always more to it than just the money. The money is the byproduct. It's great. We love it, right? That's why we work, but there's a lot more to it. So Dylan, go ahead. You were just going to.
Yeah, I just want to recap again, just summarize quickly what happened there. So we figured out that you could open up these direct accounts with brands. Dan calls a bunch of them after we had success with that first one, but starts finding that a lot of them are saying, we don't let Amazon sellers open direct accounts, or we haven't an Amazon seller, or we have enough Amazon sellers, we don't need any more to sell direct to, and that sort of thing. And it was so the real reframe really is to ask yourself, why are they saying that? Why don't they want to work with any more Amazon sellers? And if you ask yourself that question of why are they saying that, and you once you figure that out, then you know what you need to say to them to convince them otherwise. So in Dan's case, let's actually like go through what happened, why he was able to convince him to work with us and sell to us direct, which ended up generating tens of thousands of dollars for us, by the way, being able to resell that guy's product. That's a big breakthrough. I mean, you could just think about that, right? That you can convince somebody to sell a product to you and you can earn tens of thousands of dollars in profit, right?
I mean, it was that one account, just to give you an idea, that one account was a game changer for our business. It more than doubled our revenue.
Yeah.
Like, so crazy. it was a, you know, that was a real stepping stone for us.
Yeah. So like, let's actually break down what happened. What was that guy thinking, and how did Dan convince him to sell to us, right? And the reality is that guy didn't understand how Amazon worked. Is the real answer, and that's actually true. And everyone watching this, you need to understand that if you want to do this or you want to start getting involved in something like this, it's understand that the brand owners of many companies of best-selling products on Amazon, they don't actually have any clue how Amazon works. They're totally ignorant to it. This guy kind of thought that by adding an Amazon seller, he wasn't going to be adding new sales or additional revenue to his product. And really, the truth is he's mostly right. Because just adding an Amazon seller doesn't increase your sales. But if you add an Amazon seller that's going to add value and actually make some changes to your Amazon listing that can increase sales, well, then that is valuable. And they weren't having those kind of conversations with him, but Dan did. What Dan did was say, hey, who is your top competitor just in general, right? And the guy said, you know, brand X. And I don't think what that guy had ever done was look up his competitor on Amazon. That's what Dan had him do. He said, look them up on Amazon. Showed them that their Amazon listing was way superior, way better, just top to bottom, way better than his Amazon listing was. And Dan showed him sales rank. Said, look at their sales rank and look at your sales rank. They are just selling way, way more product than you're doing, much better. And the reason is because they have a better listing. And so what Dan's value proposition basically is if we can buy your product direct and we can be one of your sellers, we will fix your Amazon listing, and so that you can be more competitive. And that will do what? That will increase your sales on Amazon. So everybody wins. We're able to start selling his product and make money, and him letting us do that will make him more money and help his brand in a lot of different ways, because we promised to improve his listing and fix a lot of the issues or problems that he was having because of it. And basically, that's a replicable model that you can do for thousands and thousands of different brands on Amazon. And that's just when everything changed for us. And we started doing that. We would call brands, not asking to open a wholesale account with them necessarily, but asking how can we help them? And if they didn't know, and a lot of times if they didn't know how they could be helped, we showed them how they could be helped. And we were opening one after another, after another, after another, to the point now where we've done over $30 million in sales on Amazon, haven't had to drive around and buy stuff at a Walmart, in over 5 years.
What's funny? You said that, and something immediately popped into my head. Like the last 3 years in a row, I went Black Friday shopping for me, not for my business. And it was because I wanted to be in the store. Like, it was a huge change, just massive change.
Yeah. So figured out, and there's and as we grew and figured out more and more ways to make brands want to work with us as their Amazon retailer, right? That's what we are. It's like brands want to work with us now because they look at us as this like elite, high quality Amazon seller. Like we are the go-to people for them. That's how they feel once we talk to them, and that's how we had to set ourselves apart. And here's a really cool part about all of this, right? It starts with, typically, we reach out to a brand, we show them how working with us is beneficial to them and the values that we can provide, and they approve us as one of 5 or 10 or 20, even 20 sellers that they may have, right? And we provide that value to them. We do the things that we say. They see a result. They see that their sales are increasing. They see that things are getting easier, better for them. And then what they want to do is make us the exclusive seller, because they see the benefits of working with if we were, they see that we're just way better than everyone else they work with. So they want to get rid of them and it just be us, because if it's just us that they're working with on Amazon, that they're going to get a better result. And then we're the exclusive seller. And what that means is every single product sold on Amazon is sold by us for that well-established brand, right? So what that's led to for over years of doing this, now we have these exclusive agreements with brands. And I can just give you a few here. We've got one exclusive agreement with a brand that's worth in profit per year at this point about around $180,000 to $200,000 per year in profit, selling one brand. I think they have 3 products. It's actually one product. It just comes in different sizes. Nearly $200,000, between $180,000 to $200,000 a year in profit selling that one brand, because we're the exclusive, right? We have another exclusive agreement with a brand where this brand is very different. They have 50 plus different SKUs. But that's worth like a minimum $250,000. This other brand, a minimum $250,000 a year in profit. And we have all these different, in our contract with them, all these different growth bonuses and stuff like that, where we can earn, I would imagine our earning potential in a year at a minimum is $250,000 profit. I think it's probably close to $400,000 if we do a really, really great job with them in earnings potential in a year just on that one account there. And then we have smaller ones that aren't that big, that just earn us $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year in profit. But that's what it's been able to turn into. And now we have this massive business. We've been able to hire employees based on the success that kind of run the day-to-day operations for us, to where we're just kind of vision people, where we don't have to do a lot of the hard work. We just get to communicate what we want, or what we want to see happening, or ideas, and they get put into play and put into action. So now we are true entrepreneurs with a team, with a business, with a growing business that our goal in the next 3 to 5 years is to sell it for over 8 figures. Sell it for at least $10 million, but I hope way more.
So that sounds intimidating to some people listening. That might sound intimidating. I couldn't do that. That's, getting exclusive contracts and stuff like that. It didn't start like that. One of the toughest things after we really kind of learned that value would win accounts, right? That being able to help a company succeed would win accounts. One of the toughest things was the imposter syndrome, right? You get that thought that creeps into your head. Why would a brand work with me as opposed to one of these massive sellers? And it goes back to that original, that story I told that really convinced it, right? It's, because we were willing to do it. The fact of the matter is when every time we find a product that looks good to us, there is something wrong with it. There is something broken. And if you can see something broken, that is that, to me, that's the evidence that they need your service. So once I understood that dynamic and that brands actually need us and that we can help promote success for them, it's much easier to get those contracts, those exclusive contracts. You go get the account, you do a great job, you fulfill the things you're going to do. And that's all we've tried to do. The secret to our business success is I tell somebody I'm going to change their title and I go change a title. I tell them I'm going to get pictures on their listing and I get pictures on their listing. And just by following through and doing those types of things, you get results. And that's why they sign exclusive contracts, because they want to work with you more, because they've seen that you're willing to put more effort in than anybody else. You don't have to be a bigger seller or have all the resources. You just have to have the hustle.
Yeah, I love where you said imposter syndrome, because the reality is anyone can do this. Almost anyone can do what we've talked about. I mean, I like to say if we could do it, definitely anyone could do it and figure it out. Especially because we had to figure it out all from scratch, really. So, everyone that's watching here, they've kind of heard our story and how we got here. And I want to double down on that concept of, anyone can do that. So we're going to actually teach you and show you how to find products the same way that we do, because you can do it. Anyone can do it. So Casey's actually invited us. This is a part one. We'll call this part one, where we just wanted to introduce you to who we are and what we do. But we're going to do a live training with Casey that and come back and show you step by step how to find wholesale products that you can sell using the same model, using the same everything that we just talked about here today, and just take that time to show you how you can find that first product that will potentially completely change everything for you. We're not going to be holding anything back. We're going to legit show you exactly how we find great wholesale product opportunities on Amazon, and we'll talk a little bit about what you need to do to be able to land those accounts.
And that's going to be hopefully the light bulb moment for a lot of people. I think that at least with a lot of my audience, and maybe in your past experience with folks, it just takes that one time to push them. They want to do it. They want to do it. They keep going. And then finally they kind of need that little push. And why not this year? Why not 2021? I mean, you left last year back there. So this year is going to be a little different. And maybe this, like you said, we're going to have the guys back for a live show, and a week after this video is airing, when you guys see this video. So I hope that's that push, that little, extra go ahead to get it rolling.
The first part's seeing it, right? Like, and that was it. There was that was what took us so long. I feel like if I would have understood that part and got to see it earlier, like that we would have caught on much faster. Like, you got to think of that time lapse, right? Like, it sounds like our business grew pretty quickly, but in reality, I mean, you're talking about from 2011 to 2015 for us to figure this out, like 4 years of working along. And what we're going to be doing on that live event is just letting you see the process. We're going to show you how we find a product, and it's like, from there, once you figure something out, once you kind of see what things look like, if you have some hustle to you, that's when things really start to take off. See, like, look at our progression, like, learn about wholesale accounts, learn how to get accounts, and just started calling. And then I found out the next thing, and it was adding value. And it's just call, and try to deliver those experiences. If you have hustle and you understand the process, you can make this business. This is one of those businesses you can grind to. Like, you can get there if you're willing to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, if you're just willing to put in the effort, you can succeed. We've seen it a million times. And there's no truer business model for that than this one, reverse sourcing wholesale.
Yep. And I'll tell you, the emails I get, nonstop messages, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that I get messaged, is people that are done doing the Walmart trips. They're done driving around in a van all day. They just want a better way to scale, because they realize just one person, just two people, and those trips get to be long. That's probably the bigger complaint too, that they spent 12, 13 hours Saturday, 12 hours Sunday, and they didn't see their family, the whole weekend, because they have a job, or even part-time or full-time job during the week, and they spent their entire off time working on trying to find inventory, as opposed to doing more important things. I think we learned last year it is more important than ever to spend time with friends and family, because you may not get that time back under general circumstances, let alone the world we live in now. So they hate driving those long hours. I know a few of them. You guys know a few of them. I'm not going to embarrass them here, but we all know a few of those guys we watch on Instagram or social media that's all they do. They're just driving. And I'm friends with a few of them, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you do it nonstop. So that's in my inbox 20 times a day. I promise you.
And it's great though, because it can build you into it can build you into that long-term success, or that scaling. There's nothing wrong with it. But like, if you want to move up to the next level or make that change, it's actually great to help you get in there to it too. I think, from Dan and my perspective, I mean, we're thankful for our experience with arbitrage, because it's what led us ultimately and gave us a lot of that initial experience too.
I'm thankful for it. I spent years just thrift stores and Walmarts and anywhere I could. So it's where I think we all got started. We all built from there. So the experience was definitely learning lessons.
Yeah, but and where we are now, the way that I like to summarize it, if you understand arbitrage, then I think this is a good way to understand what we do and what the opportunity is of what we're going to teach with you about a week from now on that live stream. Is that if you've done arbitrage before or you've done thrifting, I want you to think about the best product that you ever sold, the thing that made you the most amount of money, right? Like the best thing you ever found, right? Think about that. Everyone knows what it is. They're all thinking of what that thing is. Now imagine
I know
you could
mine.
now imagine you basically had unlimited access to buy as many as you wanted. That is kind of what our business is now. That's what wholesale is. Imagine that what if you could just buy that direct from the manufacturer and they wanted to work with you, right? And you were their approved authorized seller or even their exclusive seller of that product. You had unlimited capacity to buy it. That's kind of what it is that we do now. So you can see it, you can understand. There are these great opportunities. What if you had access to just buy it at direct pricing from the brand, right? And that's what this is about. So if you want to be able to figure out how you can do that, just come to that live stream. We'll show you. It's free.
And yeah, just so everyone is aware, when you're watching this video, down below us in the description box, you may need to click the little see more button, but I'll put it right at the top. It will be a link. It's going to be a week from now. Do we know what time we're going to be live? Well, the link will tell you whenever we set it up, but it'll be right down there. Click it, bookmark it, save it, turn the bell on, whatever you have to do. But I'll make sure it's the very first line right below us so you guys can come back in a week. And that should be February the 9th, I believe, is the date we're scheduled for. So just in case you want to put that in your head, guys. So right down there and come back and we'll be back here. We'll be live. This video is recorded, but we will actually be live with you. So we'll also have a chat where you can ask questions.
Yeah. Answer your questions and just make it real for you. Show you how we find products and talk a little bit about, the products that we find live, what we would do to get the account, what we would say, how we view it, and what, just so that you can really understand it and start putting it into practice yourself, try it out yourself, and you can have that big light bulb moment that changes everything for you, just like it did for us.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So I'm excited to watch it live. I've watched some of your previous videos. I'm sure some of my audience has probably seen them through some of the other creators and our good buddy Steve. And I can't wait to watch it live. I didn't see the live one with Steve. And so for me, it's even going to be an experience watching it live. So make sure you guys are back. The link below. Don't miss it. Bookmark it. Whatever you have to do to remind yourself. Set an alarm. Don't be Casey. Set your alarm because I forget all the time. But yeah, February 9th. It'll probably be early in the afternoon, I think. So the time will be on there when you click it, though.
Yeah, check it out. We'll see you then.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you February 9th.